So today I'd like to share some work-life balance tips. My last video I talked about a very stressful episode in my professional life from years ago. I worked in a different company. And so I thought I would like to follow with some tips. This morning I got a message on Twitter. Someone asked me how I was doing. Are you okay now? So maybe I should have been clear about what followed up from the episode and the different changes I made in my life. Actually, things are very good. They've been very good since I moved my family and had a different job. And I had several jobs within Google for the last almost 8 years. And it's been very good, actually. And a lot of that is because I realized I was in control of what were my priorities in my life and practice certain things in my life that make that possible. First thing I would suggest is don't check email and calendar and group chat and things like that when you're done with work. Literally, if you walk out of your building or step off your bus or whatever, walk into your house, this is when you stop. And you have to, no exception. Yes, even with deadlines. Leaders should be, or even you, we should all be taking into consideration our happiness, work-life balance first. And then scope projects and the work items, calendar and timelines accordingly based on that, based on what's possible as happy humans over a long period of time, not just for a month and then everybody crashes and burns out. If you scope down the work well and you focus on what's important, then people will be happy. And if you're a manager, people will not want to change managers ever again. I'm talking experience here. So there's that. Another tip is to optimize where you live and how you get there. That in a way that make you feel that you're going on vacation every night. People might chuckle and laugh. Yeah, well, work's important and I'm working and I don't know. That's fine. But actually, imagine feeling every night like you're going on vacation. That's a feeling I have. As you can notice, there's a lot of trees outside. I don't know if you see that. That's because I am every day crossing the Santa Cruz Mountains, going north from the Santa Cruz area, the woods areas of Santa Cruz, or Planet Endor. My house, we call it Ewok's Nest. There's actually a sign that says Ewok's Nest because we're Star Wars people. And cross the mountains. Now I'm on the way down actually. And cross all of Silicon Valley all the way to Mountain View, which is in the north of, it's close to the water, to the bay. Now it's a long drive and people are just flabbergasted and surprised, like, you live over there? And a couple of reasons for this. First of all, it's insanely expensive, as you might have heard, closer to work than where I am. I'm actually going to pull over to let people through. Whoa! To let people through. There we go. Because I seem to be the slowest guy in the mountain. Slowest person in the mountain. Alright, they're all gone. And that's okay. Now, I was saying my drive is very long. And that's actually by choice. So, again, I mentioned it's cheaper to live where I live, and it really is cheaper, especially 7 years ago, where my wife and I and 2 kids, we were able to buy a house, to afford a house, and I didn't feel like I was getting ripped off with the price of the house because it was far. So I drive an hour and 20 minutes each way, but actually it could be 50 minutes, 50, or 55. So a lot quicker if I took freeways, and I take off very early in the morning, so there would be no traffic. But guess what? I choose to drive basically 40 minutes or 45 minutes a day more, counting both ways, because I'm on a road that is beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful roads you can drive. I have to shift down because there's crazy curves, and that's wonderful. Keeps me happy to do this road here. So I take the scenic route because when I get to work, arrive at work, I'm super relaxed. When a lot of people, maybe they spent less time on the road, maybe actually longer, to come from San Francisco or other places. But they're fairly stressed out. It was stop and go traffic. There were accidents. I don't know. And the road I take is just, again, I have to pull over to let people through because it's so chill, and I'm chill. I have to actually turn my wheel, which not many people have to do in other places. That makes me happy. I get home and I'm just like zen. I feel like I'm going on vacation. Don't check your email. Be at peace with that. Promote that on your team so everybody has this feeling at home. Think about other people as well. Even if you want to work super hard and change the world and blah 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 and crunch time, not everybody can do that. So even just from being a good human and thinking about others, caring about others, just like you want them to care for you, you want to promote that. So do it yourself and tell others, like I'm doing now. Another tip is know your superpower. Know yourself. What are you really good at? And not something you're good at and you don't like, of course. What are you really good at and you like doing? Hairpin turn. This is a little switcheroo, like a crazy side road I take. And one more person coming through. So what about that superpower? So the reason why you need to know yourself well and what you like to do well is because you need to communicate that to your team and your manager and managers, so that you clearly tell them, hey, I would like to do A and B. So for me, right now, and that changes over time, right? For me right now, I know I love to kind of explore new things and kickstart projects, explore lots of use cases. In my case, user experience and prototyping and augmented reality, virtual reality, and other crazy sensor camera based things and headsets and whatnot. I know that about myself. I like to start these projects, and once in a while, when it's very exciting, then teams love to staff them and hire people and whatever, reprioritize to actually ship those things. So I love that kind of role. Might go from project to project to start them, and that's fine. I've done other things before, but I know right now that's what I'm happy doing. So I clearly tell my manager that, and he says, okay, good. He appreciates that. People like clear information and data. And so then when he is meeting with other leads and managers and they plan out budgets and projects and roles, he can say, hey, Manuel told me he really wants to do A. Do we need, and it looks like we need A or B or whatever. Another hairpin. And so then what happens is you find yourself in a situation where your manager comes to you and says, hey, you told me you want to do A. Guess what? We really need A. Thank you for telling me. And so then find yourself in this great role that makes you happy, that is exactly what you wanted to do. But for that to happen, you need to know yourself, know what you're good at, know exactly the role that you dream to do, and communicate that. And if you have good management, you'll find yourself in that role. And people will think, oh, Manuel's like, it's clear what he wants to do, and he's really good at doing this. So, those are my tips for today. Because people had asked me that, what works for you. I should say that, I'm very lucky to have the opportunities that I've had in my life, the really good jobs I've had, and finding myself basically doing what I always did as a kid, taking things apart, putting back together, trying to make computers more human, all the way down to back in the 80s when I was writing BASIC and making chatbots, and I had a little episode about that. I think episode 1 or 2 of Manual Transmission. And so best wishes to you to either apply those rules or others that you got inspiration from thinking about what makes you happy. And that's about it for today. Thank you, and take care.